Intermission 1. The porch of La Comedia della Luna was a spacious and well-styled thing. Orbs of enchanted crystals spread a soft silvery illumination through the new fallen night, and the air was cool without it being chilly. A better backdrop for a discussion could not be imagined. And every drop of that beauty serenity would be needed to counteract the ugly feelings bubbling up in the elements of harmony. The cool air seemed thick with tension, as each of the 9 ponies standing in a close herd tried to figure out where to begin. Predictably enough, it was the element of Ozzy that finally broke the awkward pause. "What was that?" she spat. "What gave this double dash a right to write such lies about us? Why? What did we ever do to her?" "Who knows?" replied Trixie burrily. She waved one hoof at the program she held clutched in Aurora. "According to this, Double Dash is a pen name. It could be anybody behind that. No, maybe it's one of the stupid nobles trying to get revenge on us for dragging their dirty little schemes into the light." Dizzy raised the host speculatively, but her voice was confident. "Weird thing is, I don't think she was trying to make us look bad. Or at least not all of us. She made me a shadow bolt, and even making thinking my sister was probably supposed to be a good thing. Supposed to make it look like I never seduced anybody else's stallion." A faint trace of, not bitterness exactly, but perhaps regret crept that last sentence. Charlene winced internally, but couldn't think of anything to say. While she was ditzy would stop beating herself up about being a decade-old indiscretion, she did have a point. An illegitimate and even adulterous child could be made into a huge scandal, even if Caroline's society generally refrained from doing so for reasons of mutual blackmail. Double Dash could have been trying to make Ditzy look better, even if her methods of doing so left something to be desired. "And he ignored the fact that I'm head over heels in love with my pony bonbon," said Lyra, rubbing the back of the mare in question with one leg. "And that Trixie still turns green when she sees 2 ponies swapping spit." "Did you have to play it that way?" complained Trixie, who indeed looked queasy at the image. "Then the romance between me and Trixie wasn't that badly done. If it was me and Bonbon in those scenes instead, we wouldn't have a problem. Really, Raindrops is the only one that seemed like he was trying to make it look bad. Maybe he has some small grudge against you for some reason." "Maybe it's Stormy Squall," said Shirley. "She finally got so angry at our weather team for showing him up that she decided to write a play with the secret agenda of making Raindrops look as foolish as she is." There was an explosion of laughter, and Shirley felt a sense of relief as some of the tension faded. "So, she's either a devious schemer who's trying to make us all, and me in particular, look bad for some reason that probably has to do with night court politics, or she's a well-meaning idiot who has no idea how badly the nonsense she's writing will hurt us," said that Raindrops after the giggles faded. "Either way, is there anything we could do about it?" "Let me check on something," said Trixie, who then began to flip through her program. After a moment, she grimaced. "I was afraid of that. There's a little disclaimer at the bottom that basically says that Double Dash isn't actually claiming any of this is true. She's not saying that this story she's written is what happened to us. It's just based on what happened to us. So we can't get at her for lying about us because she makes it clear she's not actually claiming to tell the truth." Rinskirk chimed in. "And it still doesn't prove anything either way, because every writer puts that disclaimer if he's writing fiction. Double Dash could actually think what he made us out to be and stuck to the disclaimer just to be safe. Or he could have been trying to make us look better or worse. There's no way to tell." Viscount Prince Blueblood was nervous. He might not know the elements that well, but he knew enough about them to know that the portrayal of them in a play was rank nonsense. There was no telling what the elements would do in response to such folly. The last time the elements had been provoked to act in the political plane, they laid a mine that had blown the structure of the Night Court to splinters. Granted, it had managed to put itself more or less back together, and Blueblood himself had come out with quite an unexpected good fortune, but still. Stranger's thought was interrupted by said unexpected good fortune, dragging him across the theater to the souvenir desk. Piggy had been voluminous in her praises of the theater's special salad dressing, and when she heard it was for sale at the desk, she practically bounced out of her seat then and there. When the intermission had been announced, he knew they would be shortly making their way over to the gift shop to stock up on the particularly delicious condiment. Vice killed Blue Blood, said a voice behind him. He turned to Florence.
That's Posey,
he responded. This was definitely not good. Justice Franklin Posey was one of the very few who had senses ready treated as the elements to be offended by the Figaro of a play. Judging by the look in her eyes and spread of her wings, she suspected him being responsible. I don't suppose you care to comment on how those lines slandering my niece ended up in the script, she asked, voice dangerously level.
I wish I knew, he responded sincerely. I'd like to serve up whoever wrote that script on a gold platter before the elements decide to upend the night court again.
She snored. You really expect me to believe you had nothing to do with this?
Yes, he said blatantly. Why the buck would you think that I did have anything to do with this?
Aside from the fact that it's exactly the sort of thing you do, there aren't a lot of ponies who might know that Flutterwing is a living in Ponyville, that she's my niece, and has the connections necessary to get a play rewritten. Stop that! Interjected Pinkie Pie, hair frizzling even more spectacular than usual. Bluey isn't a bad pony anymore. You want to do something so mean?
That's Posey, said Blue Blood. I swear to Luna, I didn't talk to any pony by the play. I was just as surprised as you were when they mentioned your niece. And also, if you might have noticed, it wasn't exactly kind to my father either. If you don't believe me, ask the Internal Affairs Bureau to investigate the matter.
Perhaps I shall, said Justice Posey, before disappearing back into the crowd. Pinkie wrapped Blue Blood in a hug. Don't worry, Bluey. Every pony will know that you're a good pony eventually.
I hope so, he replied.
You guys ever think that one episode of MLP that featured them writing the book and publishing it and getting a whole bunch of fans would probably have been better gotten and better received if they did like Ember Island Players? And to some of you overly sensitive people who complain about that episode, here's a little known fact that I've always loved to point out. If you know for a fact that you aren't the ones who did it, congratulations. It's not talking about you. It's talking about those other assholes that exist outside of your connection. Just sit back, sigh, and thank God that you're not one of them. The crowd was dense enough that it wasn't until the elements were all the way back to their tables that Trixie spied Justice Posey talking to the princess. Oh no, how the fuck am I going to convince her? I haven't gotten any clue where all that nonsense on the stage came from. All my experiences will play, not going where you expected to go, said Justice Posey, as Trixie came into earshot. She turned, started slightly as he almost ran into Trixie. Duchess, said Trixie, trying to keep her voice level. Dames, replied Justice Posey. Duchess, I swear to Luna, I didn't know they were going to have me say those things about Fluttershy, blurted out Trixie as opposed to Carrot Top. Trixie was forced to suppress an inappropriate giggle as Luna rolled her eyes at Carrot Top's turn of face. I haven't talked to any pony about her, and even if I did, I would never say anything like that. One nice animal, so he would steal my carrots. Well, I saved somebody that one time, but it was for a good cause, and he paid me back later, and Justice Posey cut off Carrot Top with an upraised wing. I believe you, Dame Toppington. Fluttering has written a great deal about you, as he's a generally good character. I'm certain that the merits he describes in her letters would have prevented this if she had known. And as I told the princess, I have my own experiences with a play getting out of hoof. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go find where my colleague has wandered off to. Trixie sighed as he resumed her seat. Take heart, my faithful student. It could be far worse, said Luna tearfully. Well, I haven't told you about the new moon incident. Not that I recall, replied Trixie. About 250 years ago, a 6-book series came out. It was called New Moon. After the first book of 6, and purported to be written about from the point of view of Zephyr Winds. The gist of the plot, just as it was, and what there was of it, was that Zephyr Winds and I were lovers, and that Keynes was the product of the proposed relationship. It was a counterlot bestseller for 70 years before interest eventually petered out. There was a long, palpable silence. Pinkie Pie's speculation on the etymology of the phrase salad dressing skipped off the surface of that silence like a stone as the pink party pony pranced past, Paramore partside. Try saying that 5 times fast. I'm not doing it. After a couple more breaths of silence, Charlie spoke up. But, Kane's is more than 400 centuries older than Zephyr Winds. Hell, she trailed off, making grabbing motions with one hoof, as though the particular snatched the words out of the air. Zephyr Winds? Luna's fifth apprentice, explained Trixie, and one of the great mysteries of equestrian history. Nobody really knows why Luna took him on, or what he did as her apprentice, except Luna herself, of course. The blue unicorn sought a look at her princess. Luna's response had the polished tone of something that had been said many times. Oh, this is one matter I'm not going to explain, no matter how many times the pony asks. Suffice it to say, Zephyr Winds was as vital to Equestria as any of the other apprentices. Hey, where's Snails get to? Asked Raindrops abruptly. There was a brief exchange of looks. None of them were really paying attention to Snails when they had run outside to have their discussion. Dinky and Slee mentioned going to the Phillies' room, and had already been and returned. But none of the elements could remember Snails saying anything as to where he was going.
They had no right to say those things about Raindrops.
Unlike his big sister, Snails didn't get angry easily. But every pony has, somewhere within them, a button marked explode. Or some as large and easily press. Others it's well hidden. But every pony has it. And Double Dash says press Snails.
Raindrops hates it when ponies think their temper is all that there is to her. Now Double Dash has told all these ponies that Raindrops is nothing more than a muscle-bound idiot. Sun-spawn jerk plot, ruining my sister's life and not even having the guts to do it to her face. I wonder what he'd think if I sent my friends to ruin his life. But I don't... Wait a minute. I don't know who he is, so I can't bug him. Bug him. I have my friends get rid of this theater. Steels had already begun to gather its magic when another thought floated in his mind. This won't make Raindrops feel any better. She still hasn't gotten over what she did last time she got really angry. And if I let my temper loose, even in her defense, she'll be just disappointed as me as to herself if I let loose it by Double Dash to the sun where he belongs.
The show will resume in 3 minutes, the announcer, as mounted to the amplified voice cutting through the welter of voices. The show will resume in 3 minutes.
Oops, better get back to my seat. Hope the next act is better than this one.